Let's move on to the rest of the update, and actually something's just come through from Matt Law surrounding Ange Postecoglou, and he says there is a growing sense that Ange Postecoglou is likely to leave Tottenham at the end of the season, regardless of the outcome of the Europa League campaign, neither through being dismissed or mutual parting, either through mutual consent or being dismissed. And I think that's probably the right course of action, to be honest, winning or losing. I think if he does win the Europa League, go out on a high and be done with it, and let's just move on.
Yeah, I was saying as well, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he resigned after winning, and he can stick his two fingers up to the media and everyone who's made fun of him for saying trophy in second season, all this kind of stuff, and he can go out on a high, and also has his reputation, as much as this league season's been absolutely atrocious, is still intact, because he's, at the end of the day, he would have finished fifth and then won Europa League the following season. So I think a lot of clubs will probably be looking at thinking we'll give him a go, I think, if he does do that. So yeah, I think at the moment it's not looking great for him in terms of his long-term future. It's understandable. But at least if we win Europa League, he'll have something massive to show for it, and that would be a major European trophy. But it'll be interesting to see where we turn, because I'm looking at these options about taking us into a Champions League campaign, and we're just not massively enamoured by a lot of them. But I just saw one of the things saying Johan Lang apparently is a big fan of Thomas Frank. We're going to be looking at him. But whether, I think, isn't Johan Lang's future maybe up in the air, depending on Paratici, if that's still on course and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's so much to be decided, I think. As well, Scott Munn could be out the door, so I don't know what kind of role he had in any of the footballing decisions or not, but he's potentially out the door with Vinay coming in now. So I think there's a lot to be decided. But as well, we know when people I know Vinay is more of a money man, but he is coming in as CEO, and we know when these kind of people come in as decision makers, they always want to make their imprint. So a lot of the time, the head coach in those points does their days are numbered after that, or when those things kind of happen. That's definitely a case as well, I'd say. So I think that's obviously part of it. But look, I think the main thing is the league campaign. That's obviously going to be his undoing. Yeah,
and I think that should be your barometer for where you're at as a football club. And I think with the players that we've got at our disposal, with or without the injury crisis, we should never be where we are. And I think it's a complete embarrassment. We're sitting here in 2025 and we're going to be having our worst ever Premier League campaign. It's an absolute embarrassment.
No, it's fair. It is embarrassing, but it won't be embarrassing if we win that Europa League.
No, but the Premier League campaign will still be embarrassing, regardless.
But this will this season be remembered as our worst ever Premier League season?
I think it will be remembered as a classic Spurs of winning a European trophy but having our worst Premier League
It's just
campaign.
Classic Tottenham, where we're so desperate to win that trophy, and the 1 year it could actually come is in a season we've had our worst ever Premier League season.
Also, you're looking at it and you're seeing all the comparisons now between Ange and Ozzy Ardiles, right, for the worst Premier League campaign. And whenever it comes back to it, whenever we're looking bad, it will always be compared to Ange Postecoglou. So he will always be remembered for this Premier League campaign, always.
Yeah, but also on top of that, you would say, well, at least Ange won a trophy when you're doing those comparisons.
Yeah, but Juande Ramos, and I know it's not the same trophy and it's a much less caliber trophy, but Juande Ramos and George Graham won a trophy for us, and we're not exactly looking back at them fondly.
No, it's true.
So,
well, Ramos won multiple UEFA Cups. He was a great manager, just not at Tottenham.
Spurs fans don't look at him fondly.
Same as George Graham was also a good manager, just not at Tottenham.
We don't look back at him fondly.
Right, but
we chased him out of the club.
What's the common denominator?
The common denominator? What is
Tottenham? Is that we don't look at it, apart from Poch, Redknapp, and Yol, we don't look at any manager fondly.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, next up, we are going to look at a few potential transfer rumours. Footy Insider says that Tottenham are weighing up a 30 million summer offer for Renato Vega of Chelsea.
Really?
That's what it says.
All these transfer, I find it very hard to get engaged in these transfer rumours, because I just think until the new manager's sorting all these different things, it's just so, until we know we're in the Champions League or not, I think all of these things are just, I don't know if we're actually planning for these things right now. But Renato Vega, I actually don't think he's a bad player, but I don't know about.
I don't even know what position he plays.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's played multiple centre back, left back, centre mid. He can play all three. He's quite versatile. I don't think he knows his best position right now.
Next up is a report on Pedro Porro by Graham Bailey, and he says that Spurs would entertain the possibility of selling Porro for more than 50 million this summer. Tottenham have been wise with their financial arrangements, but like most Premier League clubs, they are always considering PSR, and Porro could be an option to sell as a result. Spurs are looking to bolster their squad in almost all areas, and to do so, they will likely need to cover their incoming purchases with a sale or two. Man City have kept their tabs on Porro's progress, and they are in need of a new right-back to replace Kyle Walker this summer.
Yeah, I think if I was City or Liverpool, if he's available, I'd 100% be looking at him. 100%. I think he's class. I think he gets a bad rap. I see a lot of fans get frustrated and think he's not good or stuff. But I think he's quality. I know defensively he's not the best. There are better right backs defensively than him, but to have that kind of quality in your team, at fullback, that's what a lot of teams are looking for. And you look at even the one that's going to go to Madrid now in Trent. He's not even. I'm not saying he's Trent level, but he's, in terms of the profile play, he's not dissimilar to that. And he would fit right in at City. I think he would fit right in at Liverpool. I think we should keep him if we can. I don't think we should sell him.
Do you feel like if Porro was to leave, then it will be a bit similar to when Kyle Walker left the club? Because when Kyle Walker left, like, he was out the team for Trippier. You know, Trippier was starting a lot of games at that moment in time, and everyone at that time was like, you know what, we can sell Walker, we got Trippier. You know what I mean? And then Kyle Walker went on to become one of the best right backs the Premier League has seen. Do you reckon that could happen with Pedro Porro?
Well, I think Walker, it's a bit different just because I think Walker was already the best left back in the league. I think right back. Sorry, when we sold him, I don't think many people wanted to sell him. Actually, I think people were trying to make the best of this bad situation.
It's not that we wanted to sell him. Most fans wanted to sell him, but most fans were just like, oh, we got Trippier. It's not the end of the world.
I don't think people realise what a blow would be to sell him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I think I don't see too many right backs with the quality he has on the ball. I really don't in the Premier League. I think he's got unbelievable quality. I think he's underrated defensively as well. I don't think he's the shit show defensively a lot of people think he is. I think he's not the best in the league for sure, but he's not like this massive liability I think that everyone says he is. I think he's a quality right back, and I think if he goes to Liverpool City, he'll become the best in the league, I think.
And then a few fullback Spurs have been linked with. AS in Spain says that Spurs are among the clubs tracking Fiorentina fullback Dodo, with their interest picking up ahead of the summer window. Barcelona are also keen, and in fact the Catalonian Giants are believed to have placed the Brazilian at the top of their shortlists as they actively search for a new right back. I mean, it's not a player that I know too much about, but I know he's having a very good season at Fiorentina.
I think we've been linked with him a few times.
Well, when he was at Shakhtar or something.
Was it at Shakhtar? Yeah, obviously if we're selling Porro, then it's going to be something we have to look at, isn't it? Replacing that position. I think in terms of high profiles, quite good at dribbling. He looks like more of a dribbler than a passer, like Porro is. He's what age is he? 26. He's not even young. That was just quite interesting. Not particularly tall. He's short, 5'5", very short.
Porro's not tall though, is he?
No, but he's not that short.
How tall is Porro? I thought he's fairly short, isn't he?
I would say I would guess he's like 5'9". Let me see. Pedro Porro. There you go, 5'9", exactly.
So and Dodo's what, 5'6", you say?
5'5".
5'5".
He's very short.
What's Lisandro Martinez? Because he's bloody short.
He's about 5'9" as well.
What, Lisandro Martinez is 5'9"?
I think so. 5'10".
Really? Wow. Maybe it's just because he's a centre-back.
Yeah, that's why.
All right, well, that's Dodo. Another fullback that we are linked with is Ola Aina of Nottingham Forest, caught offside saying that Tottenham are now eager to sign Ola Aina, with the Nigerian's performance this season catching the eye of a whole host of Premier League clubs. I mean, he's been brilliant, Ola Aina, but is he the kind of right back we need at the club?
I actually thought he was quite good before Forest. I think
Where was he?
He was at. I know he was at Fulham for a bit. I think he was at Benfica as well. I remember there was a lot of talk about him going to different clubs before, and then he was kind of quite hit and miss. I remember he was part of that Fulham team that got relegated. But I actually like him. He can play both wing backs as well, both full-back positions. Quite obviously shown he's quite a good defender this season. I actually think he's quite good going forward as well. I do think he's 28 now though, so he's not like young. I like the idea of him as like a backup for both fullbacks, but I don't know if I would want to sign him as a starting player potentially.
Well, if we were to sign him, it'll probably mean Jed Spencer's our starting right back.
I wouldn't mind Spence and Udogie with Aina covering. That's not bad. I think he's been brilliant with Forest as well. Yeah, absolutely.
He's had he's probably had the best season of his career this season.
For sure.
Brilliant. And last but not least, following Burnley's promotion to the Premier League, their option to buy Marcus Edwards has become permanent. Sporting have been the clause in the contract has been triggered, so he has to sign for Burnley now this summer, which means Spurs will receive £3.5 million owing to a sell-on clause.
Come on, boys. We're absolutely rolling in it. What are we going to do with it, you reckon? Going to go towards the hotel?
I think Daniel Levy's
couple extra floors in the hotel.
Vinay's new bonus.
Vinay's new bonus. Those dividends just got a little healthy kick. Love it. Go on, Levy. You must be popping the champers.
Yeah, well, that's that. And actually, last but not least, Football London have said that the Norwegian FA have made some changes to the fixture scheduling to help Bodo out before their cup tie with Tottenham, which means that they're going to have a completely free week in the build-up to the semi-final, and something like the Premier League, which would literally never do.
Yep, obviously. I think they're the first ever Norwegian team, aren't they, to be in a semi-final?
Must be, yeah.
I think so. I think that's what they said. So they're probably bending over backwards to try and help them out, which is something that other leagues do. And obviously the Premier League, they've never done it. They never will do it. They couldn't give a crap, I don't think, the Premier League about how well their teams do in Europe.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Alkmaar did the same thing before they played us as well.
Yeah, I know they definitely did have a free week. I don't know if they moved anything around, but I remember they had a free week before we played them. Well,
I mean, it seems as though like every single league helped their teams in Europe apart from England.
Mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
In fact, England, they try and make it harder.
They don't care. They care about the Premier League revenue, and they don't care about Europe. It's not their business. It's not their. Obviously, it heightens the profile of the Premier League if their teams in Europe do well. But at the end of the day, they're not going to move a TV slot. If the TV slot means they believe there's going to get more viewership on that TV slot, they couldn't care less where in Europe. Even if 2 days after, they couldn't care less. That's when they're going to put it, and that's it.
All right. And that's it for the Tottenham update.
People are wondering what our heights are.
What our heights? I don't know.
You don't know how tall you are?
No, I don't actually.
Never measured? Never?
Not for a very long time.
Got the tape measure out? What do you think you changed your height in the last time you measured?
I really don't even remember the last time I hit my height. So I can't
I think I'm 5'8".
I'm probably about something similar to that.
I think I'm 5'8".
I don't even know who's taller, me or you.
Don't know. So are we doing this?
Back to back.
We doing it?
And we go back to back. All right.
Who do you reckon? What do we reckon, people?
Who's taller, do you reckon? Who is taller?
Am I?
Yeah, slightly.
COYS.
Give me the hair.
It's the angles.
It's the hair.
It's the angles.
Let's go, lads. Shoes off. And I've got my shoes off as well. I actually have my shoes off.
So do I.
No, Ben's got his shoes on. He's got high heels on. What's that about? Oh, here we go, lads.